was updating it. It was making me update my stuff. Close this. Hey, yo, wait. What happened to my? That's crazy. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, it was right here. I see. Do you see my stream?
Or, you load it.
Okay.
Let me check.
Abu Quaswim. Hamok. Okay. On CDX, read ASE chapter 20. CDX. Wait a minute. It literally tells us ASE 7. ASE. Wait. Oh, I'm skipping. ASE 1 chapter 20. 20 through 8. ASE 1. Is it ASE 1? ASE 1 chapter 20. ASE 1 launch. Oh no. Chapter 20. What? Course information. Forward ASE. No, it's not that. Oh, wait, I think I found it. Textbooks. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it's E1. Okay, launch. And he wants me to do our classroom homework. ASE 1, chapter 20. 20 201 through 208. Okay. Explain. Okay. Let's get the tour. Got it. Cooling systems play a critical role in life span of the engine. Figure 20-1 typically a lot of focus. The cooling system also has a huge as of vehicles. The lubricant system, engine emissions, fuel economy. Thus, the role of the cooling system is significant. A myth regarding the cooling system is that it keeps the engine cool. That is not true. The purpose of cooling system is twofold. 1 to allow the engine to reach ideal operating temperature to maintain the temperature during all operation. The cooling system can fail in two ways. The failure with which most people are familiar is the engine overheating. This is usually evident by steam pouring out of the engine compartment. Overheating can lead quickly to major engine temperature. Major engine damage. The second way the cooling system fails is by preventing the engine from reaching its ideal operating temperature, either not allowing the engine to reach this temperature at all or not allowing it to heat up fast enough. This may be evident when the heater does not get very warm or when the defroster is not working well. Although this does not cause damage immediately, it does cause the engine to wear out much more quickly. Low engine temperatures also cause poor fuel economy and high vehicle emissions. This chapter explains the principles of heat transfer. Okay. This isn't long, he said? That's wild. That's wild.
Your phone that's
Oh, sorry.
Heat travels in just three ways. The way it moves through solids is called conduction. Through liquids and gases, it is called convection. It follows paths called convection currents. Through space, it moves by radiation.
Interesting.
The internal combustion engine works by changing heat energy into kinetic energy.
Oh no. Fuck. I just passed it. Goddamn.
The internal combustion engine works by changing heat energy into kinetic energy. There are many ways to do this, some better than others. But no matter how efficiently it is done, and no matter the size of the engine, the heat energy generated never completely changes into kinetic energy. Some energy is always lost. This is certainly true in internal combustion engines, where only about a third of the heat generated is transformed into the mechanical energy that moves the piston and turns the crankshaft. Another third goes out the exhaust, wasted. The rest tries to spread around the engine. Heat always moves from areas of higher temperature to areas of lower temperature, which can be a problem.
Heat is thermal energy. It cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred. It always moves from areas of higher temperatures to areas of lower temperature. This principle is applied to the transfer of heat energy from engine parts to ambient air. Coolant is used as a medium to carry the heat. To control this heat transfer, it is necessary to understand how heat behaves. Heat travels in only three ways. Radiation, conduction, convection. From one solid to another, conduction through liquid and gases by a process called convection, where heat current to space.
Combustion of the air-fuel mixture in the cylinders generates heat, which produces high pressure to force the piston down in the power stroke. Not all of this heat can be converted into useful work on the piston, and it must be removed to prevent seizure of moving parts. This is the role of the cooling system. Most engines are liquid-cooled. A liquid-cooled system uses coolant, a fluid that contains special chemicals mixed with water. Coolant flows through passages in the engine and through a radiator. The radiator accepts hot coolant from the engine and lowers its temperature. Air flowing around and through the radiator takes heat from the coolant. The lower temperature coolant is returned to the engine through a pump. Air cooling is common on smaller internal combustion engines. Some engines use cooling fins. Their design makes the exposed surface area as large as possible, which allows more heat energy to radiate away and be carried off in convection currents in the air. Some engines also use a fan to direct air over the fins.
The internal combustion engine relies on the heat of combustion to produce torque. Torque is used to move the vehicle and power the accessories. Unfortunately, much of the heat produced during combustion is wasted. No matter how efficient the engine is, the heat energy never completely transforms into kinetic. Excess heat must be removed. About 33% is wasted through the exhaust. Oh my god, bro, this is so stupid. I wish I didn't have to actually read this shit. Oh my god. Imagine. Wait, how long? He lied to us. Bro, I gotta do 1 through 8. God. Okay. Okay, I already seen this. Principles of heat cooling.
Air cooling is common on smaller engines.
Oh, we already did that. Okay.
Combustion of the
Oh, already did that one.
air cooling is common on smaller internal combustion engines. They may be small, but they still generate a lot of heat. And it works best on the engine that's exposed to a high airflow. It's the air that does the work of keeping them cool, so an air cooling system is usually simple. That's useful on an engine where weight is important. Some engines use what are called cooling fins. Their design makes the exposed surface area as large as possible, which allows more heat energy to radiate away and be carried off in convection currents in the air. More air flows over the fins and more heat is carried away.
Bro, oh my god, I can't put my book down. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's the water pump.
Bro, I'm too silly.
Air cooling is
He thought I would reply, but I'm too
possible and be off in
responsible.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just tell you what it says tomorrow.
Alright.
I was like falling asleep. Hold it.
Fuck. It's gonna be used as like No.
Coolant prevents an engine from overheating in use and from freezing when idle. The amount of heat generated by an engine is the equivalent of that required to heat a large house in winter in very cold climates. As engines and vehicles become smaller and more powerful, they generate even more heat in a confined space, and aerodynamically efficient body designs tend to carry air away from rather than into the engine bay. When an engine stands idle in cold weather, water in the cooling system will expand as it freezes, and this can have sufficient force to crack the engine block or radiator. An effective coolant must therefore contain good heat transfer properties, have a higher boiling point and lower freezing point than water, prevent corrosion and erosion, resist foaming, be compatible with cooling system component materials, be compatible with hard water, resist sedimentation, and be as chemically stable as possible. A concentrate, usually made of ethylene glycol together with some protective additives, is mixed with water to produce coolant. Propylene glycol, which is non-toxic, is sometimes used in the mixture, as well as, or even instead of, the more toxic ethylene glycol. Glycol does not absorb heat as effectively as water, but when added to water, it has the ability to lower the fluid's freezing point, as well as raise its boiling point. A common glycol to water ratio used is 50-50. This will lower the freezing point of the fluid to 70 degrees below freezing and raise the boiling point to 108 degrees Celsius, or 226 degrees Fahrenheit. Manufacturers can recommend other specific mixture ratios, but below 33% glycol, the coolant will give inadequate freeze protection, and above 65% glycol, the mixture has inadequate heat absorption. There are three types of additives used in coolants: conventional or inorganic additives, organic additives, and a hybrid mix of the two. A fully formulated coolant is comprised of a careful balance of ethylene or propylene glycol with rust inhibitors, corrosion inhibitors, scale inhibitors, pH buffers for the acid to alkali balance, anti-foaming agents, and reserve alkalinity additives. Coolant should be changed at recommended intervals because some of the additives will age and deteriorate over time, reducing the effectiveness of the coolant. While some coolants are compatible with others, changing the chemical balance of the cooling system can affect coolant performance, so mixing different types of coolant is not recommended.
inhibitors.
Water at atmospheric pressure at sea level boils at 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. That is its boiling point. If the water is put under pressure higher than atmospheric pressure, it boils at a higher temperature. If the pressure is decreased below sea level atmospheric pressure, it boils at a lower temperature. Therefore, raising pressure above atmospheric pressure increases the boiling point. Lowering it below atmospheric pressure lowers the boiling point. Changing water pressure changes the temperature at which it boils.
Electrolysis is a chemical and electrical process. It occurs when two different types of metals are in contact in the presence of a moist agent such as water. One of the metals will be corroded away. This can occur even in pure water. Immersed in this water are two plates, one of aluminum alloy, the other made of cast iron. The atomic structure of aluminum means it loses electrons easily, leaving behind positively charged aluminum ions. Negative oxygen ions in the water are then attracted to the aluminum ions, and they join to form deposits of aluminum oxide. As a result, the aluminum is eaten away or starts to corrode.
There are several types of coolants available for use in liquid-cooled engines. The recommended coolant depends on the original equipment manufacturer's recommendation. This is influenced by the metallurgy of the engine parts and the length of time or mileage the manufacturer wants between scheduled services. It is important to note that brands and types of coolant differ from one manufacturer to another, and it can no longer be identified by its color. The colors can be green, purple, yellow, orange, blue, or pink. Almost all antifreezes are ethylene glycol blends. The differences between the various types of antifreeze have to do with the corrosion inhibitors and lubricants used in the antifreeze. The type of antifreeze must match what is currently in the vehicle, as mixing antifreezes can cause a reaction that turns chemicals in the antifreeze to sludge that plugs up the passages in the system. Antifreeze or coolant will either come concentrated or pre-mixed. All concentrated antifreeze used in vehicles will need to be mixed with water before use. Most manufacturers recommend using distilled water to mix with the antifreeze. In most parts of the world and most vehicles, a 50-50 mix of water and antifreeze is the correct mixture. The first category of coolant is inorganic acid technology, or IAT. It is the first type of antifreeze that was readily available. It is still in use today in some vehicles. It contains phosphate and silicate as corrosion additives.
and it is typically known as the green antifreeze. IAT coolant needs to be changed every 2 years or 24,000 miles, as the additives break down over time. The second category of antifreeze is organic acid technology, otherwise known as OAT. It is a longer-lasting coolant, called extended life coolant, and is designed to be changed every 5 years, or 150,000 miles. OAT antifreeze was first introduced in about 1994. General Motors' Dexcool is an example of OAT. The anti-corrosion additives in the OAT coolant do not break down as quickly, and is why it allows a longer service interval. The third category of coolant is hybrid organic acid technology, or HOAT. This is a coolant that contains a mixture of inorganic and organic additives. This type of coolant can use silicate and organic acid, and is the best of both worlds. Some manufacturers found that without silicate, problems arose if the system was not properly serviced, such as oxidation of the coolant leading to breakdown of the corrosion inhibitors. Other tests indicated that silicate causes premature water pump failures. This coolant is considered extended life and has to be changed in 5 years or 150,000 miles. An example of HOAT antifreeze is the yellow antifreeze used by Ford Motor Company. The fourth category of antifreeze, polyorganic acid technology, or POAT, is a relatively new coolant that contains a proprietary blend of corrosion inhibitors. It is a very long life coolant, providing up to 7 years or 250,000 miles of protection. It is claimed that it's compatible with most other types of coolant, but always check the manufacturer's current service information. It is important that you service the vehicle with the coolant that is called for by the manufacturer. In most cases, you should never mix 2 or more types of coolants, and/or refill with a type other than originally used in the vehicle. Doing so will likely compromise the cooling system's service life and cause premature failure of the system.
Organic acid technology. Organic.
Centrifugal force is a force pulling outward on a rotating body. A vehicle turning a curve is a similar system to this rotating body,